Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Siphon coming at you with another video. And today, we actually finally have a name for the podcast, but this is going to be we're splitting into several subsections of the first podcast you see on Blue. This portion will be a kind of like reflection type series for those who've seen Reflections by Thorn, a very good League, CS:GO, content creator. That guy, he does a reflection series where he goes in depth with his guest. And I'm going to do somewhat the same thing. Obviously, I can't use the word reflections because, that's copyright. So I called mine mirrored because, we're going to have the guests look at themselves and be like, hey, this is what I did in my past. This is what I'm looking for in the future. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to learn about the guests. We're going to see a lot of insight. And without further ado, you guys don't want to hear me. You guys want to hear the guests. I have from Onslaught Gaming, Miracle. He's the captain. I believe you're the captain, correct?
Yeah, that's what I'm listed as. Doesn't feel like it, but yeah.
We got the captain of Onslaught Gaming, a console pound team who has been, since their inception of Goodnight Moon way back in the day, been tearing up in a Xbox. But enough for me. Miracle, tell the audience about yourself. Whatever you want to say, the floor is yours.
Just been playing Paladins recently. Past, I think, like year and quarter. Recently qualified for 2 lands, got second at the first one, first at the most recent one, and looking to qualify for HRX, almost there.
He's probably one of the people that kept me sane during my days in Paladins. I'm sure if you guys listen to a little bit of what I talk about with Blue and what we'll probably talk about with him, if it wasn't for this man, I would have went crazy. Oh boy, but we'll get into that later.
You gotta get your scrim contact high somehow.
Oh yes, I got to. In fact, I'm kind of getting it right now. I feel a little bit different. But what I want to do is I want to do this in chronological order. So Miracle, what is the first bit of gaming, not competitive gaming? How did you get into gaming? Period.
When I was a kid, I got chicken pox. So my dad got me a Nintendo 64, and I think without my mom knowing, he got me like GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64. And when he used to, my parents were divorced at that time, and when he used to take me to his house or whatever, and he would have like friends over, I would be playing GoldenEye against his friends when I was like 7. And that was like my first experience with it. And I loved it.
So that's how you got started. You got to play a little bit of GoldenEye. I played a little bit of GoldenEye when I was younger, but was there any other closer step? Because I know you played some other games. One game that's a big dead game. But we'll go to that. Yeah. But what was all the games that played younger? That is GoldenEye where you found your passion like for gaming, or was it further down the road?
I'd say I found my passion in a game called Shadowrun, which is a 360 game. It was a game where I competed in my first tournaments, and I didn't do so hot at the beginning, but at the end I ended up winning a couple. I started playing that game when I was 14, and I think I finished when I was like 17 or 18.
Okay, so you had a little bit of a stint in it.
A long time, yeah.
Yeah,
for a 360 game, of course, yeah. That's actually a really long time.
Mm-hmm. So now let's get into let's fast forward a little bit. Evolve, the cornerstone of a lot of the memes that came your way in console Paladins.
Every joke I hear is about Evolve, and I'm not sure why.
So
but it's alright.
So tell the users a little bit about Evolve, how you got into it, and then your competitive history in that game.
So when I got Evolve, I actually didn't even plan on getting it. I thought I was done gaming. Because I was in college at the time, and Xbox One came out for like 2 years, and I didn't touch it. And then randomly my father again got me an Xbox One, and I was just looking for games to play on it. And my friends introduced me to Evolve, and we started playing Evolve, and decided, we had a lot of fun playing it, so we decided we'd play game battles, and we played a couple game battles games, won all of them, and then we played against a team that won the first LAN tournament. It was like a $5,000 tournament in Los Angeles, and we just beat the crap out of them. And then we kept playing GBs, and I think we went undefeated. We won like 25 games. And then GB just stopped doing it. But then there was weekly tournaments for Evolve for probably like 4 or 5 months. So we were pulling in some decent money doing that. It was a couple $100 a week. And then eventually they announced Proving Grounds tournament, which was for $65,000. So they had 2 separate plans for that, a qualifier and I guess the finals at E3, which was a crazy experience. Playing live at E3 when I've never really played at a LAN at a high level before was fucking insane. Oh my God. Just being thrown right into the fire, but it was the most fun of my life.
So for those who don't know, and I kind of don't know, so I also played a little bit of Evolve. Obviously, I never played it competitively. I just, played ladder, sometimes, and, a lot of casuals. I think I might even streamed it a couple times. But I was a medic main. I played a lot of, what was her name? Kara, the one with the grenade launcher.
Kyra was like the meta medic for probably like the first 8 months, yeah.
I kind of just played her because, I could close my eyes and still heal people. Especially when I had so many terrible people on my team.
That's one of the reasons she was good. She was easy.
Oh, man. And then I played all the monsters. I'd probably say Kraken was my favorite. My brother was actually top 20 Kraken in rank, right at its peak, right when Evolve was peaking.
Yeah?
He was really
cool.
good.
There was a lot of players at peak, tons, but the game died off really fast.
Yeah, he hated it. He thought it was because they kept adding like the DLC characters. It was one at a time, and it was just why not just have them all? And the DLCs didn't really feel inspired. You know what I mean? It just felt
yeah.
It's just hey, you got DLC.
I feel like they really screwed that game up. The game was awesome. It was just that's not a game you can play casually, because if you have 1 weak link on your hunter team, which it's like a 4v1 game. So if you have 1 weak link on your
Trappers.
Trappers, exactly, dude. They changed that later in the game. They gave everybody a trap.
Yeah, but, I hated that.
That was stupid too. But yeah, if you had 1 weak link, you just lost. You just did not stand a chance because everybody needed to be doing their job. Otherwise, you just lost.
That's why the game was really fun, because when everyone was really doing the job and you had a good monster, the game was exhilarating.
Competitively, it's one of the most fun games I've ever played.
Agreed.
But casually, it was completely unplayable. In Paladins, I'm I'd consider myself a casual star. I literally can play casuals all day. I'll solo queue as healer. I don't care.
I can, yeah, I feel that.
I'm insane. But in Evolve, you could trio queue, and it would just be the most miserable experience of your life.
No, for those who don't know, how does the actual competitive scene work? Because I watched some matches of this is post Evolve's peak and kind of when it started to die off. I never really paid attention to the competitive scene because I didn't know it actually had a competitive scene. Because if you look at it at face value, so you have four humans and then you have your monster. It's not an obvious competitive scene, so how do teams work? And it's I was so confused. So from a person who was in it and at the top, who in the blue hell is calling me? So who, explain for the people who don't know how Evolve's competitive scene works, team building and all that stuff. Please explain to them how it works, and me, by the way.
Okay, so there was you would have a team of 4 hunters, and then you would have your own separate monster player. And online, you would be able to have them play at the same time. So your hunters would play their monster, your monster would play their hunters, and it would count as like a map point. So if your hunters won, that would be a map point for you. Obviously, it's like offense defense in football
Okay.
kind of a thing, or maybe not football. Maybe football's a bad example because the defense. I mean, it can score, but
No, I get what you're saying. So it's like, you have you're one team, but you play in two different phases at the same time, and then you get a point
Correct.
for each. So,
correct. And we have like literally no interaction with our monster. Our monster is doing his own thing.
So it's just like,
no way to
hey,
help him.
so your org owner says, hey, we picked up freaking Jimmy plays Minecraft 52 over there. He's gonna be our monster. You guys have a tournament tomorrow. So the tournament happens. You have zero clue what's happening with your monster. Like, you're like Jimmy.
Yeah.
How's things going? Just no response. You're like, yeah, I don't. So is it kind of like that?
You wouldn't even need to. You like, yeah, we would we needed almost zero interaction with our monster player. I mean, we would talk to him because we liked him, but and we would practice against him occasionally, but realistically, you could literally never talk to your monster player, and it would be totally okay.
Okay. So, what were some of your favorite times in Evolve? You got any spicy stories for us that you want to share?
Spicy stories. Sure. At E3, I I was getting interviewed on the main stage, and I shit talked the European team, saying they wasted their time coming. It's kind of an asshole back then.
Toxic
Saying they were,
miracle.
I felt bad. They made like a 2-day trip to get 3-0'd and just dip.
Yikes.
Yeah, I got booed a little bit.
Dude, wasn't it?
And then backstage, they were talking shit to me in French. I had no idea what they were saying, but they were very angry at me. Luckily, we 3-0'd them, so it went through. But oh my god, that would have been so bad if we lost a map.
Bro, where was that Miracle at in Paladins, man?
No, that's done. I'm done with that.
You're dad Miracle now.
I'm dad. I was definitely the shit talker of the Evolve team. I was like just shit talking everybody, but I'm done with that in Evolve. Having everybody hate you isn't fun.
I mean, I feel like, trash talk, to an extent, as long as it's kept, inside the game, I feel like it's actually pretty healthy.
Yeah, no, I would never, go after, do personal attacks. That's ridiculous.
Oh, but, yeah. Some people, don't know that that's not a thing that you should do.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know in certain instances it can be very healthy. Like, I know, I don't think I was ever, a prime, trash talker, but, I'm a person that would pop off. I think you might have seen my clip on, Twitter that I posted yesterday when I was playing a Willix. That was me, primetime Smite, and, right when I first got into Paladins on console, I would make, an insane play. I would just start screaming. That's why I always say you can never play me at a LAN, because it's already over. You let me make one good play, it's over. Because I get those juices flowing, I start screaming, it's over.
I've heard you. You subbed for us, heard you.
Yeah, I talked about it in the blue thing. Oh, dude, that was funny. I know we played Elevate, we clapped Elevate, but then, Erase at the time. I forget. I know we played other people, but I just remember that insane Sarah assault that I got. I knew the exact angle, and you intrinsic freaked out because I knew the exact timing and angle. And then y'all boosted me, then y'all gassed me up on Twitter.
You launched it halfway across the map, and I was like, dude, I would never even try that. What? And then you hit it. It was I still, for some reason, I still remember that all. That was incredible.
Yeah, it's just. I'm telling y'all, man. When I was on, when it came to support, and I had a team around me that I actually wanted to play, I was unlocked, man. I was unlocked, but sadly, I never really had that opportunity. But it's all good.
It's impossible. It's impossible to find a good team on console.
Yeah, I'm not too bent up about it. You got any more?
Just,
oh, go ahead.
It's just console. it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
We're the WNBA, you know.
Oh,
like- It's true. We are like
we really kind of are.
we're the minor leagues. We're the lesser league. So
Yeah, minor league would be putting it. If we were called a minor, well, I don't know why we're saying we, because I'm not in console anymore. If console was called minor, that'd be what's it called? A compliment, because how you guys were treated and like what we were treated when we was there. Because like at least minor leagues, have something to actually play for. For the longest time, you didn't really have something to play for unless you were the de facto best team.
a lot of people are like upset about how consoles being treated. I'm just like, what do we expect? Like, the scene is like a joke. Everyone talks shit to each other on Twitter. It's incredibly unprofessional. Teams switch up every day.
Yeah.
It just is. How can they take us seriously?
Yeah, even though Hi-Rez hasn't been the greatest, partner with this, at the same time, we've never given them a reason to be invested into us.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, the matches are good. I'll get the pat on the back I'll give console is like our finals matches are very good. Like the Elevate versus Blight set.
Yep.
Is one of the greatest sets I've ever watched for any game.
I remember me and Blue was talking about how, the whole entire arena the room that you guys were in were just going crazy, and then the PC side was in the Smite room, and half the crowd barely even like woke up for it. It's like,
yeah,
y'all got me jumping on my chair, and I remember when y'all first had y'all's LAN, the first LAN you guys were at.
Oh yeah,
I was excited, even though y'all couldn't take it home. I was still like jumping up because I was excited. It was mostly because it was you and Intrinsic and all that stuff. But at the same time, console knows how to put entertaining matches on, and it's mostly because like if you're willing to, you can get invested in certain players. Even though for some of you might be a turnoff, because like you can easily get invested in someone like Jordan, depending on how you are, because he's a person coming. He can like pop off, but some people don't like his attitude. So while some people don't like him, a lot of people can get invested to him because they're just like him. That's easy. It's easy to create a buzz around yourself and console more than PC, because I feel like more PC people are like laid back and not like what's called flamboyant.
I think they're just I think just console players are a lot more open because there's less attention on us. So I think like if I was to view it as like a fan, I guess like I think it would be easier to kind of like a console player better, because like you know everything they're feeling for the most part. Like they're most of these guys are just saying whatever the hell they want on Twitter and stuff like that. So
100% agreed. You got any more some more Evolve stories for us, or is that all you got for us? You telling Frenchmen to go home.
I wish that was they deleted that broadcast. I have no idea why. Probably because they had so many technical issues with the event.
Oof.
But I wish that was still up.
Who's putting on the event? Was it the studio themselves putting on the event, or was it like a...
Yeah, it was Turtle Rock, which was like who made Left 4 Dead? Is it Valve?
It's on my head, but I can't remember. I can look it up real quick.
I think it was like some company that was made up of.
It's by what? Wait, what? Valve, Total Rock, and certain affiliates. So it's Valve and Total Rock.
There you go. Yeah, that Turtle Rock is the one who made Evolve. Okay. So it's those guys.
Yeah. Any more stories you got?
I don't know. I'm pretty boring, man. I'm old. Fucking old.
Dude,
no
we're
crazy
all old,
LAN
man.
stories.
We're in our 20s and we're old as
my like whenever you go to a LAN, there's some interesting stories, but most LANs and it's just like kids nerding out, going out to get food.
Yeah.
Just hanging out. Nothing. It's just kids having fun playing video games, but it's still good fun.
We're just over here. So moving on. So what game did you play after Evolve?
Overwatch. I played Overwatch. I think.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
I'm
we
kind of,
well, so I knew, but I was just phrasing like that for like
I
the
had to like
audience.
think about it. Yeah, I played Overwatch for a bit.
So let's dive into a little bit of Overwatch history. So how'd you get in Overwatch? Like just the game itself.
Um, Once again, my friends showed me previews of the game, and I thought it looked amazing. Played the beta, was absolutely in love with it, and when I played the beta, we were six stacking, and we would always run into this group. Some people might know him: Pashi, Gabriel, Jokey, Redempt, which was turned out to be, what was it? Paradigm. Oh, Wax. Paradigm,
Oh,
which
the
was
Paradigm
the
team?
top, yeah, which was
Oh
the
yeah, I
top
heard of them.
Overwatch team. And we would have matches back and forth with them. Oh my god, that was the most fun rivalry of my life, playing against those guys, because we respected the hell out of them, and they were actually pretty nice to us too. So it was a blast, man. And the first like couple of months, we were back and forth with them. Eventually, they just got better, but um, it was really fun playing them. We got to win a tournament when, so I'll take that. I got like $30.
Yay!
Yeah, yeah, it was a good one.
So so like what really drew you to Overwatch? You know, was it a specific hero? Was it the color scheme?
I
Was it
I
the
just
shooter
love class
aspect?
based. I love class based. I love everyone having a job, and I love fulfilling a role and kind of like being able to experiment and go at fights different ways. And I think the game is so deep because of that. And the game will never get dull if you're always looking for ways to get better and make your team better. And games like class-based games like Evolve or Overwatch or Paladins all are all just very deep because it's based off of draft, it's based off of comps, and it always makes it so interesting.
And the meta is always revolving. You know, even if they don't
Yeah.
make big
Oh my god.
patches, even the small patches, if one
Mm-hmm.
person starts exploring something, that could just turn everything around. I mean, we've seen that in
Mm-hmm.
almost every game that has that sort of thing. So like, and especially with shooters, I feel like that is even there more so.
Yeah. No. Hi-Rez doing constant changes keeps the game like super fresh, right? So you're never like. I guess there are like one tricks in Paladins, but it just there's going to be down times where your character isn't good, and
Right.
so you have to be able to play everything realistically, and you want to play everything. So and like you have to be able to play other roles as well because meta shifts where there's either like double healer is good or triple tank is good, triple DPS.
Yeah,
So
you
the
need to
game is
flex.
never stale.
Right.
Some people say they don't like the game. I think it's because of the game, but I think the game is phenomenal. I'm in love with it.
I do think and agree that Paladins at its base, which is the reason that when my, team wasn't scrimming, I would play like 40 plus matches a day, wake up in the morning, play until I dropped at night. So like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, at its core, it's a very phenomenal game. Now, if I had a better studio or Hi-Rez decided to, get the stick out of their butt and listen to the community more, it would have been an even better game if they didn't mess up the game settings, that one time. And, actually maybe cared about the same. Well, outside of that, I think the game is phenomenal. Same thing with
Yeah,
Overwatch, even though I don't play Overwatch that much anymore. I still think the game is lovely. But
yeah. No, Overwatch is good. I think Paladins is better just because it's deeper, and I appreciate that
I've
more.
always
But
preferred Paladins to Overwatch.
yeah,
But
I think the card system is amazing. It's just like
wait,
when they did
card system.
OB64. I think you were around then. I was like
Oh
literally
god.
freaking out.
Hashtag cancel
They,
OB64.
right there, they killed the game for me. That
Yo,
is like the worst thing you could have
if
done for
any
me.
of you
could,
players complain about OB64, since high-res cuts your paychecks, I think that anyone that complains about OB64 shouldn't get paid. Forehead.
yeah, that guy.
Literal forehead. I mean, we laugh about it now, but that's literally a forehead.
No
right
gamer like me.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
dude,
God.
I'm in
That
tears.
guy was great. Dude, when he used to cast, oh my god.
You know
he
he
used to
actually
pronounce
smell-
names differently every time. Every time.
Oh, remember Michael and not Masaki?
Yeah.
No, but he actually used to be on console, like back in the day.
Rabies? I heard. Someone told me
He
that.
had this big beef with like shoes team like right when they came. Oh, big beef. Oh, it was funny. I don't.
What?
Shu would be the one that could tell you why. I don't remember, but I remember like one time I went on a stream, and I kind of regret it because this was kind of wrong for me because I was baiting him to say certain things.
Okay.
I made him pretty much trash talk console, and then like
Ooh,
trash
you're a
talk
dick.
Shu,
You're a
and
dick.
not console in general because like. I said something, then he was like, "Oh, console players, and then I think I saw the clips on Twitch, and then he was trash talking Chew because him and Chew, obviously, and I was like, it was like when we had that big group chat. You remember that big group chat? I literally got the clips from there, immediately posted in the group chat, and just to hear people's reactions. It was wrong with me. I'm not gonna lie, even
That's fucked up.
though I still laugh about it, it was wrong. It was wrong. You shouldn't do that to anyone. But that's in the past. I wouldn't. That's something I wouldn't do again. At least I hope I wouldn't do again.
Yeah.
So kind of sliding back to an Overwatch. So we talked about how you got into it. Kind of talk to me about your competitive history because we've been in parties with other people. I've heard some good stories about teams you've had, matches. So tell me how just tell me about your competitive history. Like, what all did you do in Overwatch, from top to bottom, as much as you want to say?
I'd say I only played for like 6 months or so, or maybe 8 months. But in the beginning, I was teaming with most of my Evolve team, and I think we were not really. I think we consistently were like probably the second best team in the game. There was like a top 3 teams, right, that were like always battling it out. But I think we were like the second best team. So we were doing really good, and then our best player, Yan Templar, just got sick of the game and quit. And then losing him was like really tough, so we kind of fell off. And then we started incorporating players we met on Overwatch, and just continued to get like a little bit worse. The team chemistry just doesn't work. My Evolve team was like by far my favorite team I've ever had in my life.
That's understandable.
I miss playing with them so much, man.
Do they still play like Xbox or anything?
They play PC casually.
Ah. Sorry, I had to get that one in there.
It's all good. It's all good.
I had to get that one in there.
They're just like, Xbox is shit. But yeah, I think I'm just like too old to switch.
No, that's understandable.
But yeah, so had a really good thing going with them. Then Yan quit, and then had stuff going on with Overwatch Kids. It was going okay. Well, it was going pretty good. I think we were like a top 4 team. And then I teamed with, I think a lot of people know him at this point, Tensa, Wonderful, Graviton Surge, J&K, and a girl Erica. We were the top team for a while.
Oh, that's a stacked team if you look at it nowadays. That should have been a really stacked team.
It was really good. The chemistry wasn't there, but the team was really talented. And if you look at like, it's just like a lot of looking back, like there's just like a lot of players who wanted to be in like control, and it's just not going to work.
I mean, that's a lot of good players on one team. That's why, in my opinion,
it's a lot of. Go ahead. Sorry.
In my opinion, this is why like these quote unquote all star teams don't work out. I'm not saying this is how you guys falter, but it happens in almost every esport and a lot of professional sports. Like, if you get all of the best players that are used to, carrying and all the resources, being the guy on their team, and all of a sudden there's also someone who's just like the same, needs a lot of resources, is the guy. It just kind of like a lot of the TSM squads in League of Legends. A lot of those players were the best on their team, like Double F, Bjergsen, all the junglers that came in. They were the best, and then whenever someone else, was just as good as them and they didn't get everything they got, they either got worse or there was a lot of clashing. And I've heard a lot of stuff about the players that are on your team, so I would assume there was probably a lot of ego involved and a lot of head clashing, like I think you said. So kind of continue about that, what you were talking about.
Yeah, no. It was just like, I actually totally agree with you. I watch a lot of the NBA, so I draw a lot of comparisons from there. But like teams with like 4 all-stars, like exactly like you said, it's just not it doesn't always work. You need people to just do their job. And that team didn't have anybody. Like, looking back, that like we could have managed that much better, but like nobody really just wanted to do their job, I think. I think everybody wanted to like make big plays, and you just can't play like that. It's just not going to work.
At least from the outside looking in, that's why I think that second Goodnight Moon roster, so like right when you guys were like should have been the best team, so like when y'all should have went to HRX, that team, I think that was perfect because you had superstars on your team, but you also had people willing to take a lesser role and just listen, and play around others. That's why I think you guys were amazing. That's why I drew to you guys, because you guys were a team. You guys weren't 5 amazing players. Not saying you guys weren't, but you guys were an amazing team. That's why I think you guys.
There's like definitely a hell of a lot, like just tons of organization compared to any other Paladins team I've ever seen or heard of. I mean, obviously I haven't played for every team, so I don't really know. But that team was just very, very organized, and everybody knew their role, and everybody just looked to do their role. Nobody looked to, exactly. Nobody was trying to be the superstar. It was everybody just trying to do the best at what their job was. And that was a beautiful team, and I miss it a lot. It was that's a great team.
So obviously we'll get into that later, but for like people who like don't know, like I said, I was in scrims with these guys. Just the way they communicated, the way they talked about the game pre and post games, it's just like no team I've been on, no team I've coached in Smite or Paladins has ever been like that. Just I can't put in words how beautiful that team was. That team should have went to HRX and they should have won. I hands down think that was the greatest team in Smite or Paladins that never won anything. I'm talking about PC and console. When it comes to Paladins, at least.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some pretty good successes on Smite too. But yeah, that's kind of what we felt. We felt we were what a team was supposed to be. And I had a bunch of good dudes, man. Like, which DPS roster are you talking about? You're talking about like with me and Hilltime and Soldier?
No. It was Grav, Choo Choo, you, Trinsic, and I always forget, and GC. Yeah, it was like HRX Quals.
Yeah.
That was the roster.
Those are like some of the greatest teammates I've ever had. GC's a longtime friend of mine. I've been friends with him for like 8 years.
GC's amazing. I love Kev.
Choo Choo and Trinsic were both just amazing at the time. Like, just amazing at the time. Those guys just soaked up everything you could tell them, and they just did it the next game. They just didn't have egos. They're just like, all right, what do we do better next time? Like, we would win, and it's like, okay, we we would we would win games like 4-0, and we'd be ripping our team apart. Like, okay, this is what we did wrong. Not in a bad way though. Like,
No.
hey, all right, this is where I screwed up. This is where you screwed up. Let's do it better next time. And I don't think there might be, but I don't know how many teams are like that now.
Yeah, you wasn't a results based team. You know,
Yeah, we don't care. We care about making the right
winning does not equal improvement, which is what a lot of teams will see. Like, obviously, any team can take, especially in a game like Paladins, any team can take any game off anyone, especially with comeback mechanic, which is still in the game for some reason. Really couldn't tell you why. So it's like if a bottom team takes one game off of you guys, like a team that's like 7th place, they'll automatically assume that, oh, we're on the same level or just below. No, until you kind of slowly work your way up. But like I said, winning does not equal improvement. Because like I said, any team can take any game off anyone.
I see teams like I sub, or like I will hear about scrims, and teams will like win and like win easy, and then come tournament time they lose.
Exactly.
Or the opposite way around. It's like people aren't invincible just because you won a couple scrims. It doesn't mean you're much better. It's just it's coming down to can you like realize your mistakes, and can you fix them? Not I won this scrim, I'm better.
Right.
If the other team learns from it, maybe they're better now.
I 100% agree. But is there any other anything else about Overwatch you want to talk about? Any stories? Anything else about any teams you want to talk about before we move on? Mr.
No.
Oh No Miracle.
Jesus. I didn't. That tag is so lame. I didn't really like. I liked Overwatch in the beginning, but it got old. Like, not the game got old. I still like. Well, I don't like the game anymore. But I liked the game even when I quit. But I just didn't. I just don't really. I'm not really in love with that Overwatch crowd.
Oh,
It's like the
current one is.
It's like the Smite remainders went to Overwatch, and then Overwatch went to Paladins, and it's like I'm just not. I like my friends. I like my older friends
Yeah.
that I've met in other games.
Totally agree. I'm totally with you on that. So
And I know you've met them, and it's a lot more relaxing, a lot less drama.
I'm totally with you right there, brother. So moving on to Paladins, where you are currently at. So Mr. Miracle, Mr. X Miracle, Mr. Oh No Miracle, Mr. Daddy Jeff. How did Mr. Miracle get into Paladins?
I was playing Smite casually, and I was really just looking for competition. Like event, I'm a super competitive person. I want to play and I want to win, and I want to be in a team atmosphere and improving all the time. And I'll tell myself I don't want it, and then a couple months later I'll get the itch, and I'll like decide I literally need it, because I need to I don't know, I need to get that competitive shit flowing for me. Otherwise I'm not happy.
All right.
So yeah, Graviton Surge invited me to Paladins. He said, "Yo, we can team in this game." There was like a LAN announced. So I came in at the end of like the Valencia qualifiers.
Oh, what a time that
And
was.
yeah, and with the idea that I was going to team with Graviton Surge, and then I ended up finding Cyrus and Roost, who are two really good guys who I regret. I think one of my biggest mistakes ever was leaving them, and like I think that's one of my biggest mistakes in gaming. I left to team with.
I don't have to disagree with that. That's not your biggest mistake. Your biggest mistake
Oh,
was
yeah?
5 stacking against me in casuals. Obviously, unknowingly, you, Golem, Roos, Seawire, and I think Giant Queen, all you did was go against me in casuals and just 4 on my team, and I sat and spawned wanting to cry. That was your biggest mistake. all jokes aside, continue. Those guys were good, and they should have gotten a little bit more recognition. Even though I hated those guys' guts and your guts for constantly beating me in casuals when I was Solo King.
Oh, we were dickheads about it. Like,
You know, it's
we're just having fun, man.
Oh,
To be fair, most of it we did in payload. We did most of our stomping in payload, so we only stomped like real idiots. But yeah, no, that was a blast. I love those guys. Miss those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I got into it. I got invited by Grav, fell in love with the game really fast, and then fell in love with it even more when I started playing with Cyrus and Roost. Because those guys were great. So I just like kind of stuck with the game because of that, and then just kept on moving up, getting on better teams, and stuff like that. So now we're here.
Speaking of teams, since I know a little bit more about it, and I think you've had several different checkpoints and then, you know, constantly moving up. Let's start from the beginning. So, your first competitive team. So, how did that one go? Talk to me about your first ever, what you would say a competitive team in Paladins.
It was bad. It was Cyrus and Roost. We were new. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing. I remember. I actually remember my first team fight. I remember it was Serpent Beach. We went up to high ground, and we of course we're like 5 stacking casuals, and we're beating them like when they're in like 2 or 3 stacks. We're like, oh, this is gonna be easy. Just being fucking idiots, right? And then we play them, and they just fucking send 3 people at us, and we're like, oh god, okay. And then Kev Falcon's Eevee just fucking comes up behind us and just demolishes us. Just kills
Falcon's Eevee. Oh, that
yeah.
I feel that one too. I'm so sorry you had to feel that too.
And just fucking destroys us. And we're just like, oh, maybe we're not good. Literally after the first team fight, we're like, oh, these guys know what they do.
I actually have a similar story. So you wasn't around for this, but there was a legendary-ish team. It was like the first ever iteration of Cryptic. This was Jordan, who was called Cryptic Savior, Cryptic Zero, who was Conquer TV.
I know who that is.
Arxon, who is Mason, if you know who
I know Mason
is. Mersk.
I know Mersk.
And then they had a 5th person who I just can't remember who that was. So then my first ever scrim against them, it was like I said, me, D7B, Cardio K. You don't know who those guys. They're jokes. Destronite, me, and oh god, I remember the first ever team fight. So I'm playing Barrack or Makoa. That's the only thing I played, and I swear I was like the best tank, if not the second best, at that point in the game. It was either like between me or Woosh and Mersk. I remember we all go to high ground on wait, no, we played back because like I said, I had PC experience and we never like deathballed on one side, which eventually came the meta. We didn't like pan. We just stood like on our side of the map, just waiting. They all come high ground, 5-man rush us, kill all of us. We get locked and spawned by Old School Bomb King. It's just like, all right, well, I'm glad I'm on console now. I'm on console now. This is great. This is great. That was probably the worst experience I've ever had in scrims. Outside of getting forward by your team, pretty much every time. When you guys were gonna move.
It's funny. Yeah.
Oh boy. So your team with Roos and Seer. How you say his name? Because I always called him Seer.
His tag was Seer, CYR, but I always called him Cyrus.
Cyrus. Okay, I'll remember that. So Cyrus. So that team got smickety smacked by a 2-stack. So what happened after that? What happened after that team?
After that team, I joined up with Gollum.
You sure
SB11,
did. You sure did.
Veritas Maximus, I think, and Weebs for like a day, and then I wanted nothing to do with them, so I was like, yeah, can't beat me. Like, fuck it, I'm done. Luckily, they kicked them. And then who else was on that team? I don't even remember who we pulled in, but maybe it was GC. Might have been GC.
I couldn't
Anyways.
remember.
Played with that team, and then eventually got an offer to team with Shu and Whoosh and Skeppy. Teamed with them for like literally like a week, and then they kicked me for Zoom and KCam, and then eventually went over to PS4 with Soldier Bot and I don't remember.
It was comedy as well.
Comedy, yeah.
So, a quick thing about that first team you talked about with Golem and SV. How did you come to acquire those pretty good players?
Was that through you?
What's up?
Was that through you?
No, well, kinda. I was
How did that come
involved,
to a
but
point?
how do you think you got those players? So, do you know what team they were on previously?
Did I snake them from your team?
You sure did, Bucko. You sure did. So, like, what happened? So, like, we were having some problems internally anyway. Because this was like right after we kicked ISO Hope. God bless his freaking soul, dude. Can't play Maldama to save his life. So then we got Vivi. Then things were going fine. Like I said, we weren't the best team, but I feel like with practice we could have, eventually became the best team, not second best. Then literally out of the blue, like it came out of nowhere. SV and Golem both posted this like long thing in our little team group chat, and the summary was like, "Hey, yeah, we like you, but we're gonna go team with Miracle." And this is at the time where I still hated you because of that first experience we had.
Oh, that was great.
And I was like, you didn't even do nothing wrong. You just, I don't remember. I remember I told you a while ago why I hated you, but I don't remember the exact reason. But I was like, this bad word. This bad word. I was like, alright, so we kind of got our player snake, and then that's kind of like where our team just kind of like went down the drain. But I laugh about it nowadays, but at the time I was like, dang, we just really got our two best players snaked.
That's funny.
No, but so that team happened. And then you said, what team you say after you was that the team with
Shu and Whoosh for like and Skeppy for like a week.
I remember hearing stories about that. If you don't mind, you don't have to. Would you mind going into depth about like that team and like kind of like what happened? It's up to you. If you want to.
We were actually doing pretty good. I'm actually surprised as to what happened, but we were doing good. We were taking maps off of, I guess, Erased at that time.
Yeah, that was like Parker and all them. Yeah.
I don't think we were beating them in scrims, but like we were taking maps off them a lot, and I think they decided they wanted Zoom and KCam at some point. And just kicked me in Graph, and then got them.
So I remember, I assume before I say, are things smoothed out between you guys and them? Like, is there any beef there, or is everything kind of chill?
I like Skeppy a lot. I hated Skeppy at the time, but I think I like Skeppy as a dude and is a pretty good teammate too. I'm cool with Skeppy. I wouldn't say like me and Whoosh and Shu are like good friends, but like I like don't dislike them.
Okay, because I remember at the time. Not saying I'm hoping I don't say anything wrong here. I'm just trying to use my thinking head.
Go for it.
They were saying like you were an idiot and stuff. You didn't really know what you were doing. Now, is this something that you also heard or seen, or is this just coming out?
No, but it
the
wouldn't
depths of my
surprise me.
head? I said this is obviously a long time ago. Obviously, I don't think, especially with how the scene has evolved. I obviously don't think they think that now.
Everyone has told me they think I used to be bad. So
Yeah, that actually that might have been
all.
what it was. 'Cause I just remember they had something negative. So that team kind of like went down the drain. And what happened after that team?
Well, because they went to PS4, they took Baldy and Soldier Bot, and so Choo Choo and Trenzik were left without a team. And I was already friends with Trenzik and Choo Choo. So we decided, fuck it, we'll make a team and we'll just, we know we're not as talented as everybody else at the moment, so we'll just try and outsmart them. So
I remember
we made that team
I remember that.
with GC and Grav. I think Grav was our first DPS.
Yes. The funny thing about that team, actually, so if you remember the team I was on with Fly So Fatal, so it was me, Fatal, another people, can't remember, so bless my heart. Oh, Papadavo, Proxy, who was good, but he just, I don't know, he just didn't have drive. And then other person, can't remember, bless my heart.
God.
We weren't the best team. I think we would have probably been like 4th or 5th, because obviously you had the 3 powerhouses at the time, which stayed the 3 powerhouses. By the time, it was like the first time you guys scrimmed, but like 2 days before, Fatal hit me up and was like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna try out with Miracle's team or something. He basically said that your team's gonna be a tryout, and he was gonna take
Who
it
said
because Fly So Fatal. I think I even saw that.
We never asked him to try out.
Oh, so I actually just got snaked. Word.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go try out with their team. Blah 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 blah. Because the team wasn't ever scrimming, because either he would oversleep, which was probably a lie, or there would just be something. We would never do anything. We were just kind of sitting on our hands. We had people who wanted to sponsor us, because actually, kind of going back a little bit. Did I tell you that we almost had Soar, United, and Panda?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine if we would have got sponsored by one of those teams as the SV11, Hilltime, Mercs team. I think we would have been good.
Incredible for the scene.
Yeah. If the team I was on with Fly So Fatal got sponsored by Apophis Esports, we probably would have gotten laughed at. And so would Apophis, because that team was something else.
I hear Apophis was good.
They were good, but like... They were good, but it's like, Apophis joins Console Paladins. Everyone's like, whoa, dude, hold on, hold on, so, no way, dude, no way. Everyone's just like, okay, one of them probably has inside connections. That's probably what someone's like. But I remember...
Not like Soar, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, so that happened, so then Davo hit me up and was like, hey, you want to do this other team since they're doing their thing? So I was like, okay, I don't want to be left in the water by myself, so I was like, alright, sure. Because, you know how I am. I'm hungry to compete. I want to constantly compete. I don't care how I do, I just want to.
Mm-hmm.
So then, I don't get any answer back from Davo. He doesn't answer me at all. So then, I don't know who was streaming, but it was Fly So Fatal. He was streaming, and they were scrimming, and I was like, wait, that's weird. It's everyone. Then I seen Asclepius in there. I'm like, wait a minute. Did I just get snaked? It took me a while to figure that out. But I was like, oh my gosh, I just got snaked and kicked off the team without anyone saying anything. Even though I was probably the best player on that team. But you know, let's forget all that. That's not even ego. That's just facts, my guy. And they actually faced your team, and I remember specifically on oh god, what's the really small map? Oh my gosh,
Bright Marsh, Jack,
Frog Isle.
Okay.
They smacked the living dog piss out of your team, like 4-0 every map.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure, like I said, this is the first time you guys ever scrimmed. I felt so awful. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, they are really snaked me, and they're winning. I'm not saying we weren't winning before, because we weren't winning at the start, and then we never scrimmed, and now they're winning, so it's like, I don't know. But it's funny, because like, that's the second time we were kind of connected some way, and with someone being snaked. So, talk to me about start to finish Goodnight Moon.
Definitely my favorite team as far as like atmosphere goes. since like my Evolve team. It was just a bunch of dudes who are willing to listen and learn. And it was just we were just all about like outsmarting the other team and outplaying the other team. We did a shit ton of like research on PC, just learned how they played, and would spend more time actually like talking to each other about like I guess like game theory, like if this happens, this is how you react, rather than like even playing. And I felt like it was really good. It was a really good, really healthy team to be a part of, and a lot of fun.
Started the fan out strategy at the start for Console Paladins because everyone always just deathballed five men for one way.
Yeah,
you guys separated. Because I remember
we would hard separate. Yeah.
I remember it was especially good on Jack Falls because that's kind of what that map's made for. It's 3 lanes, really symmetrical.
Three very distinct lanes.
It was beautiful. I remember that's how whenever I would sub for you guys sometimes, we crushed Elevate. This is when they moved to PS4, but sometimes we'll scrum on Xbox. We crushed them with that strategy. They just had no answer for it. And that was also the time Skeppy was doing Skeppy things. We won't talk about that, Skeppy. We'll oh, Jesus Christ, dude. I don't
Are you talking about Mr. Valencia?
It was so bad, dude. I felt so bad for him, dude. He was just in some other world, other dimension.
He had a rough month or two there.
Yeah. Mr. Valencia, though, man.
He was stuck in his Mr. Valencia days. He still is Hollywood.
Unlucky. No, but like that strategy. But that strategy alone, regardless of any other strategy you did, helped you beat a lot of teams with less effort than you normally would, just because you would find a weakness, collapse, and then you would just lock them in their spawn for the rest of the match.
We were beating less talented teams and almost beating significantly more talented teams. Like,
and you guys coined this before you guys even were the best. So then when you guys' skill and teamwork grew even more, combined with this strategy, you guys I think, and this is not me hyping you up because we've talked about this multiple times, the best that you guys should have clean sweep the playoffs, went straight to HRX, probably 4-0'd whatever team went there.
I think we would have lost to Elevate because they were just
really.
Yeah, they were just significantly more talented at the time.
But we even see. I know scrims don't mean everything because they almost mean nothing. But consistently, you guys would beat them. Consistently, when I scrim, it would beat them, and they were kind of like they were scrimming, but they weren't scrimming against that good teams because remember they didn't want to scrim you that often because they didn't scrim us, and you were the only other team that was like worth anything outside of SCDX, and it was like you two, and then SCDX was good, but they were still
SCDX was kind of like in a downfall at that point.
Yeah, so it's like the only relevant team that could scrim is you.
Us losing to them was like a major like shock. It was just like pure tilt. We went up 2-0 and then just lost 3 straight.
Yeah, the reverse. I remember that was tough on that whole entire team. I really felt for it, even though I've never been in that situation. The amount of work y'all put in for that, and it's like to be hey happy 3rd place everyone. It's just like especially to a reverse sweep and Jordan playing Victor. Looks at I guess maybe your knowledge holds strong on this. I still think y'all would have beat Elevate. It wouldn't have been like a breeze, but I think y'all would have at least beat them in a tough. It was 5 or 7 game set.
I think it might have been 7, but I don't know.
Either way, I think y'all would have beat them in a set. It would have been probably down to the 6th or 7th game, but I think you guys would have beat them. And if you guys went to HRX, I think y'all would have done fine because no other team was prepping like you guys were.
We were scrimming Blight, and we were winning a large majority. In the week, like the first I think like the first night they beat the shit out of us, but then like ever on I think we won a large majority of the maps. Once
Yeah.
again, just scrims. So who knows what would have happened at HRX? Because I had kids who had never been to a LAN before, and their team was LAN veterans.
And
But
let's talk not talk about what happened at HRX either. Let's just put that over there. No, but so after HRX, what happened with Goodnight Moon?
Grav left, and then we grabbed Hilltime. And I like kind of lose track here, but we grabbed Hilltime and started doing really good. I think.
Yes.
Again, I think we got a little bit better.
And Hilltime was actually rusty at this one because he actually quit the game to play competitive COD, and
Yeah.
I convinced him to come back, and he joined
That's
your
right.
team, and he
That's
was
right. Oh my God, I remember that conversation. I was like literally begging you.
You
get
was, you was, the funniest part was you openly admitted while he was in the party to sucking him off to get him on the team, and it worked. And then y'all was winning. I'm talking about you guys were just winning scrims. You guys were winning tournaments. It was like, okay, this is a revitalized Goodnight Moon. And then Hilltime got Death Hands by accident.
Oh God, that's funny.
So Hilltime's on. Stuff happens. So he told me what happened with him being removed, and I want you to be able to say this happened or this didn't actually happen. So
Okay.
he was always telling me, he's like, I think they want to kick me or something. And I was like, well, why do they want to kick you? And I think it's because SoldierBot, you guys wanted SoldierBot. And I was like, okay,
Yep.
so why? So what's the issue? Because I think GC was, I think there was something up with GC. That's why they wanted
PC's
SoldierBot.
schedule
Yeah.
was tough for the kids. Choo Choo and Trensic.
Yeah, so that's okay. So then he was like, "Yeah, we want SoldierBot," and I was like, "All right, cool. So what's the issue?" But then I think he said they also want, but they might get Skeppy as well. And
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, I see what the issue is." Then
we
I
were
was just
gonna
like,
get them both.
"Yeah," I was just like, "Bro, just keep playing hard," because this is also at the time where like Skeppy was still kind of like iffy. You didn't really know if you really wanted him and stuff.
He was, yeah, he was like really sketchy about it.
And then, Trinsic with his, trash talk didn't really help. Because I remember you got on Trinsic multiple times going like, dude, you can't do this if we're trying to get Skeppy, dude. And he would just
Yeah.
go, he would just say some dumb crap on Twitter, especially with the Baldy. He would just say some dumb crap. I'm like,
Oh,
my
God,
Trinsic, I'm like, Trinsic, stop. Because even if you don't want Skeppy, like, it just don't look good. Especially in a professional sense. Because I know you guys were also trying to get, an org at this time as well. You guys were trying to get, Obey.
Yeah, Obey.
Yeah.
Well, no, that was with Shu and that was with Shu and Whoosh and Skep.
No, they told me about that, but then like after they left, we ain't gonna say what you did after you left when it comes to Obey, but no, because you were getting SoldierBot, and SoldierBot said he still had good, he was still good friends with
that was like really
Ares.
brief, but yeah, I remember that. SoldierBot was gonna reach out to Obey. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I also tried to send you in United, and I think you also
Yep.
had some people as well. I think it was like what Fable and a couple
Yep.
other teams.
Yeah.
But like
we
you were
actually we had a meeting with United, but it turned out they just laughed at us. We found out from somebody behind their closed doors.
Oh, you hate to see it. See, it probably would have been better if I still had my old Twitter account and had like direct contact with Clerky, because with my new Twitter account, I didn't. My DMs would had to have been requested. He would have had to have said yes to him. I couldn't contact him because I didn't have him on Discord. I just had him on Twitter, and so that kind of fell through. But like, so then Hilltime, I kept telling Hilltime, I was like, Hilltime, just it's all right, man. Just just keep grinding, and you'll be fine. Because like I said, Skeppy was still kind of iffy. But so what happened? Because you guys officially got SoldierBot, but I don't remember. Did you immediately hit Hilltime, or was there some time where you only had Hilltime and SoldierBot?
There was a time where we had both of them. So I guess we did end up kicking hill time for Skeppy.
Yes.
That was, I mean, I'm glad I met Skeppy, but Aaron as a teammate was like incredible. Aaron was
he
really good.
Was one of the only other people besides me and you that actually was a winner.
He didn't deserve to be kicked, 100%. Like, he did not deserve to be removed from that team at all. Like, there was like, I don't know. I feel bad about it, and even, like, at the time I like disagreed with it to an extent, but we went through with it. So.
I mean, it is what it is. And
I don't know if it's a mistake, but it's something that I wish never had to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Aaron was that upset about it. He was, because that's something, he never technically wanted to come back. No. If you remember, he wanted to keep playing COD. Yeah. He was kind of like crossed about it, but I don't think he like had any remorse.
He was cool with me, like even immediately afterwards. At least that I knew of, at least to my face.
He hated SoldierBot for a while because of it, but I think I'm pretty sure he's gotten over it.
Yeah, I
got over it really quick.
Like I don't hold anything against anybody who's kicked me in the past. So.
Yeah. So now you have SoldierBot and Skeppy. Talk to me about what happened once you finally got both of them.
I think we were doing pretty good. I think we were starting to give Elevate a real good run with those two. Once they got on board with how we play. Towards the end, before we got Wonderful, we were actually doing really good against them, in my opinion. Like we really figured out how to beat up on the Grok. We were just drafting like Fernando. We were just drafting like Blast and literally just fucking running at them. We abandoned, like, we felt like we abandoned our spread out strategy because it just wasn't working against it. And we just grouped up and we just ran at them and didn't let them get the value of the healing. Because we just decided they were getting too much value out of the Grok Totem.
I'm pretty sure your team was the team that actually brought Fernando back in the meta.
Yeah.
Because like he was not picked, and then all of a sudden you guys were using that Grok.
Our team was literally first picking him. Yeah, we were first picking him for me. And I was just branding as soon as that totem came down, I would brand him. Or originally, why we started to grab it originally because we noticed Satisfies pretty much pocketed Wonderful and almost didn't heal anybody else. So what I would do is I would just brand Wonderful on cooldown. I would just anti-heal him.
Yeah.
And if you constantly brand the same person, there's like a 1 second of uptime or 1 second of downtime on the anti-heal. So he's just not going to be able to get healed. So he just kept on healing a 90% caughted person.
Yeah, and since you had wonderful DPS, I didn't mean the pun of wonderful. Since you had fantastic DPS, everyone else was pretty much being able to taken care of. Like, but DPS could slay anything. Trinsic was starting to understand what Paladins is. It took him a while.
Yeah, Trinsic is coming into his own at that point.
And obviously, you had a phenomenal healer in Choo Choo. But speaking of Choo Choo, we won't go into details exactly what happened, but at some point you needed a new support. Because Choo Choo was no longer able to play. Well, he technically never got removed, but it was most like everyone thought it was going to happen. But
it was kind of like I left, and then everybody kind of followed.
Yeah, and then you quickly remade the team without Choo Choo. And who did you get as a fifth person? Because you're like, okay, we need a healer. So who became the new healer for your team, Miracle?
That was me.
That was you. You're the healer now. And who?
Unfortunately.
But who did you get to replace the tank? Because like, who else could tank for your team? There's no other good people. Who did you get as your tank?
We got Wonderful, who was banned at the time.
Oh yes, for the old account sharing.
Kids, the MVP.
Do not account share. Look at me in the eyes. Look at me. I'm the captain now. Don't account share. That's dumb. You're dumb, especially a competitive player. Don't account share. I mean, unless you're wonderful, because then you get to be on Goodnight Moon. But unless that happened, don't count share.
And you're only banned for a month.
So I actually, before we actually talk about Goodnight Moon, let's say Wonderful never got banned, but the situation with Choo Choo still happened. What do you think would have happened?
I think we still would have got Wonderful.
Do you think Wonderful would have came, like, he would have left his team?
I think so, yeah.
And you think you still would have transitioned to healer?
Yes.
Because I remember for a while you were thinking about
It was like
Kev, wasn't you? Or was that like after all this?
GC?
No, you was thinking about
Kev
getting
Falcon?
Kev. Yeah. Or was that after like all this? You was thinking about getting Kev.
I think that was like me just like saying like if anything went wrong, Kev Falcon was my first choice.
Which Kev Falcon, to his credit, is super underrated when he was DPS and when he was Hills. He never got credit for how nuts he actually was, and I never realized it until I seen how nuts he actually was.
I think he's still underrated.
Yeah, no one talks about him because he's not a loud person. No one talks about him.
No, he's not like that. Yeah. Yep.
So I played some Battle Right with him. Like the first day he ever picked up Battle Right on PC, this kid was just nuts. Like he was carrying me in apathy just like every game we played 3v3. It was just like, bro, this kid is just naturally gifted. And he just never boasts about it. It's wild.
He's super smart.
Yeah.
He's super smart. If you talk to him for like 15 minutes, you like can pick up that like he knows a lot about the game and strategy. And obviously as someone who is like done so much research into like PC and like how they play and like how really getting every little advantage you can out of like positioning and stuff like that. I'm someone who appreciates that.
Of course. So you finally got Wonderful. Everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, Armageddon's here now. What are we gonna do?" Talk to me about what happened when you got Wonderful.
We started winning more. I think we had a rough start. Like our first week was rough.
Feeding.
I don't know if he was feeding.
Oh, no, I
but
remember you specifically told me he was feeding.
Him and Trenzik weren't playing well together, for sure. But that's like when I was tanking with Trenzik, it was just very, very different because I pretty much like said, okay, I'm gonna be here, you're gonna be here. That's it. So Trenzik just kind of had to like, we just complete like when Wonderful started tanking, we just like stopped playing our spread out style. So we just got like flanked relentlessly because Trenzik just kind of like followed around Wonderful.
Which at this time, speaking about Trenzik, this is something that I've seen like in League and Smite and also Paladins. When you have a really good player who's good mechanically and like he can autopilot, right? But he doesn't really use his brain. He's not sentient. He either requires someone to micromanage him, or he just plays follow the leader. And while that can be good sometimes, but if you're forced to micromanage someone, or they have to follow on someone, that actually makes your team worse overall. You know what I'm saying? Do you think him having to be micromanaged or something, do you think that made your team worse, or do you think it affected?
He doesn't anymore. Trenzik's a good player. He's smart. He knows what's going on.
Alright, good. So that first week was horrid for you guys. So once you guys finally kicked it in the gear, how'd it feel?
Felt really good. It was the strongest we had felt as a team at that point, because adding the best player in the game to your team is never bad.
No.
Still the best player. And it was just we felt like we finally kind of reached the hill where we think we're going to start winning everything. And we kind of did until we hit LAN. But yeah, that was rough. That was arrogance.
So
Arrogance beats you.
I
And
remember.
Flashpoint was really good.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Legacy came out of nowhere and was apparently the
So
best player in the world for like 2.5 hours.
I remember, because I'm not gonna leak everything unless like you wanna, speak on it a little bit deeper. I remember you guys telling me. I think I was in a conversation with Soldier about it. It's like you guys actually barely scrimmed, at land and leading up to land because you guys thought it was
Yep.
shoo-in. I mean, Wonderful's never lost to land. Neither has Skep. Well, Wonderful's never lost to land. Skeppy has been a former MVP and won land. And you guys are probably the best, and everyone else is like probably best in slot at their role at the time. So like, at least on the surface, it actually looks like it should have been a lane win because EU has never really performed well, and then PS4 has never won. It's literally always been NA Xbox. So kind of talk to me about lane in general, if you can.
So coming up to land, Skeppy hurts his hand.
Yep. Because
He can't play for like 2 weeks, and even working up prior to that, like my team didn't really want to scrim. They just wanted to play other games, and yeah, I think that arrogance beat us. That like this isn't Valencia anymore. It's not free. Any team can beat you. We just lost a set to a team, Happy Battle Cats, who I have gained a lot of respect for recently.
I've heard about
I
them.
think
Talking about
yeah, but like like when the league started, everyone was saying these guys don't deserve to be here, and now they're beating us, and they're beating Hill Times team, and they're here, and they're good, and now we look like assholes. So,
But
you can't just. My opinion is you literally have to think everyone is going to beat you, and you have to bring your A+ game against everybody, or else you will lose.
the way I like to phrase it, and this is the way I try to instill in my teammates, which sometimes it turned into a little bit of toxicity. I think there's some YouTube videos of scrims where I'm a little bit toxic.
Mhm.
But I seen this on one of Thorne's podcasts, and he's just referencing a Brazilian team, and here's how they say it. So they were a Brazilian CS:GO team. They came to NA, and they just won everything. And people from NA were just so confused. They're like, why are they just winning? Why are they doing different? And then they phrase it like this: you treat every scrim like a LAN game. You don't do anything in a scrim that you wouldn't in a LAN game, because you try to do this like cheeky, flank on X character right here, and team freaking smack attack. They'll let you get away with that because they're not that good. But then you have this team all the way up here who's equal to your skill level. They're not gonna let you get away with that, and you constantly do that same flank, think you're gonna get away with it, and eventually get shut down. Now everything's kind of blown out the water. So you want to scrim like it's a LAN environment. Don't do anything in a scrim that you wouldn't do in a LAN game. And
Exactly.
that's how I think people should practice, which I think that's how you guys used to practice. I don't know if you guys still do. But
Not so much anymore, but it is how we used to. Yeah.
so next on the table, so you guys are winning with Wonderful finally, but you lose at LAN. Is this the LAN that you had Destiny as your coach?
Yes, Destiny was our sub coach at the land we lost.
If you don't mind me saying, this is not. I've talked to Destiny about it. I feel like he has a. Do you think he had any part with you guys losing? As honest as you can say, because I shouldn't say did he have a part in you losing. Did he make you better at all? Because I remember he told me the only reason why he was on the
No.
team was because if Skeppy didn't play, he was the only person that could possibly fill in.
No, I don't think he. I mean, he was there as a sub and he was dedicated, but I don't think in any he didn't make us better.
No,
But he
still
did his
somehow-
job as a sub. He did
He
his
still
job as a
somehow
sub,
got an
so.
ego off of that. I couldn't tell you how. I've never seen someone get an ego. At the time, I called it a pity sub, which was wrong with me. But if you look on the surface, it looked like he was a pity sub, and he somehow got an ego off of that.
He
Couldn't
was
tell
he was
how.
a guy we knew would show up and play.
And technically, he's been
And he
to a
did.
land before, even though he didn't play at the land. He's been at a land before, so he at least knows what the environment's like. Even though it's kind of a different setting, because it was at the Skill Shot Studio,
Hmm.
which is not really a land, because that is
It
horrible.
doesn't feel like a land now. It
No,
really doesn't.
it's actually horrible. I feel so bad for
It's
people who have
not.
to go there.
I mean, it's not horrible. It's still fun, but yeah,
Well, I mean,
it's
it's good in the sense it's nice, clean, well produced,
yeah.
and it looks nice. But like when you go to
Hmm.
land, what's the one thing you think about? The crowd. Being
Yeah.
able to, if you get hype, you can scream, but hey, I'm in a booth instead of in front of like thousands of people. It's just like I just don't think land is ever going to be the same if they continue how they do with the skill shot thing. So,
Yeah.
so that land
It's-
happens. Oh, go ahead.
Yep.
You should want to say something?
No, I was just saying it's a nice studio, but
Oh,
you're right.
it's
It's
very
like
nice.
it doesn't compare to like my first like real LAN I played at E3, so it's like holy shit. Like the difference was tremendous.
Of course, of course. So, you get second place at the LAN. A lot of people are questioning if you guys should have even been the representative going in an Xbox, which I still think you guys should have been, like, without
Mhm.
question. And again, I think Flashpoint was playing a little bit better to what their actual skill level was, and I want to say they kept it at that skill level afterward, but I definitely think they were playing better, and then you guys were going up, you guys were going down at just the right time. So,
Yep.
but I do still think they played phenomenal and they deserved what they got.
They did, and they threw a curveball at us, like the Vivian. The Vivian literally
Oh,
just
the Vivian that everyone said was
completely
awful.
destroyed us, and she's still in meta.
It's like right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
She's a bad character on PC. Well, not. She has seen play in some of the PPL games, but like one or two.
I'm sorry to hear
Like
that.
on Xbox, she's like picked like not regularly, but I'd say she's like I'd say most people would classify her as like a minus.
She's hard to pressure and counter if you don't know how to.
If you don't spread out. Yeah.
So after the LAN, tell me what happens.
After the LAN, we're really rough on ourselves. We're swearing we're gonna try harder and all that stuff. And we come back and we start scrimming and we're just doing bad. We're just playing bad. I think like I think the team was like a week or two away from like dismantling and just completely breaking up. But we had a scrim set up versus Vext, a team that was like really beating us in scrims at the time. And it turns out Soldier Bot had a dentist appointment we didn't know about, so we just grabbed a sub real quick. And Cool Matt filled in and just fit us better. And we played a lot better.
Quickly, for those who actually don't know Call Matt, first of all, his name's not actually Matt. For those idiots, I think his
No.
actual name is Matt.
It's Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know his name is on his name on Twitch is Call Ryan, which is pretty
Yeah.
clever. But if people don't know, he actually had a very good stint in COD. A little bit of Phage back when like Banks was there. He actually had a stint in COD. I don't remember how far it went or how long it was, but this was a very well respected COD player who transitioned into the Paladins thing. He still calls every character a class. I will never stop being annoyed by everything being class. Genos is not a class. He's a character in the support category / class. Genos himself is not a class. No, no, no. He's
It's
not a
also
class.
busted. Everything is busted.
Everything is busted. But
If it kills you, it's busted.
he's a real chill dude. Now, me and him have had some issues in the past, but at the same time, I feel like overall we've been pretty cool with each other. I respect him a great ton for his natural, just raw skill, just being above most people, especially for how long
Yeah.
he's played the game.
He's super talented, yeah.
Especially, and he's gotten smarter. He's not just a point and click guy anymore. Back when I played with him a lot with my original crew, it was like me, Destronite, Ari Van, Call Matt, Tay, Tori. Like
Mhm.
he just naturally was gifted. He would not try, and he would just kill absolutely everyone. I would just be just blown back by it.
Mhm.
But now Coleman subbed in for, you said, one scrim, right?
Yeah, it was literally like one set.
And you said he fit better. How do you think he fit better? What about him was
Just
just
played faster.
clicking?
When you have Skeppy and Wonderful, they want to play fast and they want to play aggressive. And Cool Matt plays that way no matter what character he's on.
Yes.
So he just fits.
So how did the conversation go with Soldier Bot and also Coleman, like
It was
you're transitioning your roster? How did it go?
so it felt bad to drop Brian, but it did feel like the team made the right decision. Cool Matt just fit a lot better.
Do you think it worked out better? Like, regardless of results, do you think just
Yeah,
so you think your team is better now
I
than
think
it was?
I think we're better for it. Yeah.
So talk to me. So like, once Colmat is kind of in the culture, tell me what happened. So like, Colmat's officially on the team.
Mhm.
I think you guys were Fable at the start, right? Yeah, you guys were Fable at the
I
start.
think we're Fable at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're Fable, and
Yeah.
so talk to me about Fable. So how did everything go? So once you got Colmat and going forward, tell me how everything went. Like with like scrims, tournaments,
It went
etc.
really well for a long time. Still is, I guess. Still winning a lot. But yeah, no, we hit like a stride where I felt like we're the strongest team that I think has played as far as like talent goes. Not necessarily like dominance, like obviously Valencia strictly business is more dominant, but
Yeah.
I felt like as far as like a team playing on all cylinders, that was the strongest a team has played at the time. So that felt really good. And we went into the LAN with that, and we went in more focused and won.
Which
And,
I actually once I'm trying to think. After you guys lost at got second at the one land. That's pretty much when I stopped following console paladins, well paladins in general. So kind of. So and then you guys won the last line. So talk to me about that lane, because I had zero clue what happened at that lane. I just knew what teams were there, and then I eventually knew the result because I think you told me like the day after. Because I didn't watch any of the games. I've not watched a single game, by the way. I have zero.
That was
clue.
that was a fun one. Once again, like Vivian won the LAN. Wonderful just played Skinny Ruckus and just played Vivian and just gunned everybody down.
Did he get a breakout emoji?
No, it was
Aw.
banned every single game.
Unlucky.
Yeah, we let it through once and let Parker get it, and that was the last time that was let through. But yeah, no, it was a fun LAN. We reacted significantly better to a loss. I think we got 4-0'd by Elevate our first map, and we reacted really well. I was really happy with how we reacted. We were just like, all right, better, and we were just like, all right, next map. Compared to the last time where we like all broke down instantly. Going into the second LAN, I think helped a lot of people, especially after losing, because it's like you can lose a map, but it's a long set. It's just like, all right, whatever. Let's just move to the next one. Let's just win the next one. And I think losing that LAN helped us all become more level-headed and better players for it.
All right. So talk to me about how is Onslaught, which is what you guys transitioned to. You guys are now in the Onslaught banner. Talking about Onslaught now and with the PCL. Talk to me about it now. How did the quals go, and how has the actual league went for you guys so far?
Quals went well. I think the only map we lost was once again to Happy Battle Cats. Other than that, it went really well. And then up until Monday here, we were undefeated. Didn't lose a map, but then unfortunately I disconnected from both of our sets this weekend, and we lost one of them. So
So then, so who's your guys' sub?
Tay.
Oh, is that what people were talking about on Twitter? Like, oh, Tay didn't like play bad and like all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's
I
I think that's bullshit. But
I
yeah.
commented on. I was like, first of all, because like I said, I didn't know it was. I didn't know. I thought it was like a scrim because someone said something about a scrim, and so I just was like, if anybody wants to trash talk or support, you can see me with these hands or something like that. So I made a joke about it, but so Tay filled in for you guys. How do you think she played?
She played as well as you would like. She played as best she could, man. Like she filled in a situation that was like super important. So obviously it's a little stressful, and playing for that team, our team atmosphere is definitely a little stressful. So she wasn't thrown into an easy situation at all. So it was kind of like unfair. What we threw her into was unfair, and she did the best she could. So no one is upset with how she played.
Which you can be, especially from. So, like I said, I've known Tay pretty much since she came in. Well, a little bit after, because she was mostly friends with Choo Choo, and then after that, thing blew up.
Yeah.
She, me and her became. I was probably her closest friend for like the longest time until the thing with Skeppy. Obviously, I was like her closest friend for the longest time, and I played with her almost every day, if not every other day. And I'd say her biggest weakness was not mechanics. Her game knowledge was very low because she didn't try to learn, and she could not take criticism. Because if you gave her criticism, she would just assume you're being toxic or an a-hole, to her. And that's why she never improved. This is at the time. I don't know how she is now, but at the time.
No, she's not like that now. No, she's not like that.
Skeppy making her happy.
She was thrown into a situation where it's like not used to playing, and it's like, all right, here's a highly pressurized, like that'd just be like throwing someone into like, not like, this is like a big stretch, but like throwing like somebody who played like little league football to like throwing them into an NFL game.
Right. They're not
like,
used to the
situation. What? Like what do you know what I mean? Like they're just not used to the atmosphere. It's different.
Right.
But like she's a good player. Just like we threw her into an impossible situation, and we even drafted a character for me, but I disconnected during the draft. So like we drafted a character that was meant for me, and then had to ask her to play it. Right. So it's like, oh god, okay.
Obviously, you don't have to leak anything, but obviously you're not going to kick Tay, but are you going to maybe bring on a true sub or anything, or are you just going to stick with Tay and just hope this situation doesn't happen again, or that she can improve to the level it will be fine?
Tay is our coach, always has been our coach, and we might be looking into a new sub, but Tay is our coach.
Oh, of course.
Tay is not losing her position as coach.
Of course, especially since the situation, she no right should that ever happen, and I'm glad that you.
I mean, like once again, like honestly, I've like barely talked to my team since Monday, so I don't even know really.
Well, it's only Tuesday, so like.
Well,
yeah,
we play the games on Sunday, but yeah.
Oh, well, you can't leak that, guys. God dang it, Miracle. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone that would watch this would know. At least at the time would know.
Yeah, I'm not tweeting about it. I'm not.
No, obviously. I mean, me and Blue talked about how like the unprofessionalism of some teams.
Yeah, they actually like that's like so fucking shitty looking when we have players talking about the matches like during the match. It's just like, oh god.
Yeah, or in the streams. While their team's playing.
Or like the like GGs, like it's so clear who won in their tweet. They're just like so fucking ready to brag. It's like, come on, man. Wait a day, man. Then you can brag.
Obviously. So that's been your history of there. So now we're gonna kind of cut. We're gonna kind of start winding down. So we're gonna talk about some specific topics. So talk to me about the community right now, because we've kind of bits and pieces we've talked about it like earlier. But how is the community right now? Like how is the player base? Who are pros and non-pros? How's your connection with Hyra? So how's everything when it comes to community, in your opinion?
Community's all right. I get along with most people I talk to, and then the people I don't really talk to that much. It's just kind of the way it is. Community's good though. I wish we could be a little bit more professional, and by a little bit I mean a lot more. I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot, and then we ask for things that we don't deserve. So that's kind of where I stand with it. I'm just like kind of like, I like the people, but I think we're fucking idiots for asking for things when we don't deserve them.
Yeah, I'm glad that you actually recognize that. So that's the community. So how's the meta? Talk to me about the meta, real quick. How's the meta looking? Like, what's good?
Meta's actually really healthy. I actually love where we're at right now. We're at where just about everything is viable. And it's not double support, thank God. Like, I thought with all the support buffs, everyone was saying double support's gonna come, and like it's gonna just literally be double support. Yeah. But yeah, because I think it's just because of the strength of some of these supports, like Furia and Ying can just put out so much healing. You don't need a second one. You can just pop in damage.
So what actually happened, Ting? Because I remember outside Valencia qualifier, since Valencia qualifier, she's been a joke. I know Tay's happy, and she was happy as well.
Dude.
So what actually happened?
This is the best change they've made that I can remember.
Outside
since
of
like
making
since like the
McCulloch,
McCulloch, right?
I'm talking about Ying.
Yeah. So Ying now, instead of, well, she has a legendary that allows her to do this. Instead of her shatter blowing up her clones and taking away her healing, because that makes sense. Now she has a left trigger just like Maldamba, where it's a hit scan, heal. You have to aim it and hit your teammates with it, and it's an 800 burst.
Wait,
heal.
from her from her model or from her illusions?
From her. It's from her.
Wow, really?
Yes, and it's you can make it so it's on a 2-second cooldown. So Ying has ridiculous healing output, but it's skill based.
I wish you
because you have to place your illusion in a smart spot. You have to hit your left triggers.
I wish you see my webcam right now.
Yeah.
What the heck, dude? That's actually sick. Because the only reason she was the best support back then was one because Madama was harder. In his legendary, you had to have the gourd on them, then hit him with the left trigger before it gave him the 300 bonus healing. Now he just has it 300 extra at base. But back then, Lifelike obviously was amazing because it didn't have any reduction. So you didn't cost yourself, and you just. Especially when I was a tank player, it felt nice, man. Death Knight didn't even have to be good at the game. He just had to press LB, and I was gonna be good.
Oh, there you go, perfect world.
I was fine, but that's interesting. I was actually playing Paladins yesterday, kind of like off stream. I was just chilling. I played I played one game of Fura on Stone Keep. We got 4-0'd, and I turned off the game.
What do you think of Furia?
See, I played a little bit of Fury when she got released on console and PC. Yeah. I think she's like... Well, I wasn't using the legendary everyone's using. I was using the first one. I was using the first one where it gives you 25% extra healing. Which I always thought that was the best one, even after I got explained what the beam one does. I think the beam one got nerfed and
no, the Cherish got nerfed. Cherish used to give you like 50% extra healing. Yeah. So like at the LAN we won, like Skeppy was Buck, and
of course he was.
He was caught 3'd, and I was healing him, and because he had like rapid sustain on whatever, and my 50% extra healing for like low health, he was like full healing even though he was caught 3'd. Furia is just retarded. Furia was retarded.
So okay, I thought because I remember Luke Too Good, if you know him. He came on my stream. He was pretty much telling me like the meta. He was telling me like the legendary that the beam stops on your character on your ally and heals them right then. And he was like, "Oh, do the math. That's busted." And I was like, "Oh, that is busted." So I assumed that's what everyone was using. Is that what everyone's using now?
It is now. Not every time, but most of the time, everybody is using Solar.
I still prefer Cherish.
There's some situations where Cherish is better, but
The
If
only-
you have a coordinated team, Solar Blessing is
Okay,
generally
cool. Yeah,
better.
that's what I was gonna say. Because I used a Solar Blessing build, but I used
Yeah.
it in casuals. I was like, those maybe like 5 times where it actually was useful, and Cherish would have been way better.
Yeah, but I mean, imagine if you can like have an Inara sitting endpoint,
Oh no,
call out Beam.
no.
It's like okay,
No.
even when she's caught 3,
No.
she's healing at 600
no,
a second,
No.
which
no,
is Yingling, by the way.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about that. No. I already
And then
hate.
she hits left trigger, and then she's full health. Even though she's caught 3, she doesn't give a frick.
Oh god. So about everything's viable. Is there anything that like is above? What's probably say the best champions? Even though everything's viable, what's probably the best and like what's the worst? Like what's at the top and what's at the bottom?
If I
in
had
your
to like
opinion?
list my like great champions, wish I saw a list, but Khan, Makoa, Willow's Xbox,
Mhm.
much only
Cormac's
because
probably happy about
she's-
that.
yeah, she's just so he's not because she gets banned every game, but she like Willow's just like super easy to play, so she's better on Xbox. So yeah, Drogos, Willow, Makoa, Khan. I think a lot of people disagree with me, but I think Inara is in there. And then, Koga. have you
Really?
heard about him on console? Yeah.
Okay, so what Luke told me is that he's not picked on PC, but he's a pub stomper on Xbox. Is this
He's
true?
an absolute pub demolisher. Like I think you played against like Vivian, Vivian,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that was like if you showed yourself, you died.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm in this corner. Oh, my foot's sticking out. Well, see you later,
Yeah.
guys.
I think this is worse than that because
Oh.
you don't.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it worse than Release Makoa?
I wasn't around for that.
So basically, let's just put this hypothetically. If you walk out your house where your door is, your front door, wherever you're gonna
Yeah.
leave, you're Makoa. There could be someone like 2 houses down, inside their bedroom on the 4th floor. You close your eyes, press out the hook button. You somehow get them, even though you look to the right and shot your hook, but they're actually to your left. The hook somehow bent, turned, went inside the house, unlocked the door, passed like 4 bedrooms, and hooked them. Regardless of the surface they're on, it was dumb.
I remember the hook being really strong when like the first like couple months I played.
It was like think of like Roadhog, how dumb Roadhog hook used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All right, that's interesting.
It just gets you behind walls and stuff.
What about bad characters? What characters are like the characters are good, but like probably not gonna pick them.
Not too many characters are bad.
So no more Yings?
Shaolin is in like a weird spot.
No, not my baby.
Yeah. Shaolin is like it's like why would you play Shaolin when you could just play like Cassie or I don't know, anything else pretty much. Shaolin is the one that comes to mind. It's just like why would you try and like he's good. He's still good. It's just why would you try and play a hard character to play when you could just play something that's easier?
Let's understand who was calling me. Alright, so we're gonna wind this down. So Miracle.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, if you don't stop ringing. Hold on 1 second. Miracle, if you have any final thoughts, any shout outs you want to do, you can plug whatever you want. If you also one thing we do is if you have a tip for anyone trying to get in esports or on RD in esports, we'll do the tip, shout
Okay.
final words, and then you can plug whatever you want. Floor is yours.
All right. I'm not gonna plug anything. But I guess my tip would be nice to everyone, and even if you think someone is bad, like they like people grind, man. Like people get better, and you'll probably end up eating your words. I still do it. I still say someone's bad, and then they come back and a couple months later, a year later, they're very freaking good. So don't count anyone out.
Miracle of HU. My throat. I'm in my chest. I coughed a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I'll go follow him on Twitter. Any
Oh,
final
thank you.
words?
No, man. Just hope you're doing good. Playing
I'm
without me.
fantastic.
I mean, me and Captain Execution were talking about you last night. We missed you.
See, I know Dustin keeps telling me to come back, but I don't know, man.
And my impression of you lives on. I still do it every once in a while.
Oh, okay.
Hi!
I'm glad I still get me for no reason. I don't even do that. I don't even do that. I did it maybe like once as a meme. I never did that. Like, what?
People join the party, and that's what I'll do a lot. I'll do the hey.
Oh.
What are you doing? Hey!
My team is trash.
Healer!
Okay, I never did. Okay, maybe I did the healer one.
You did the healer. You definitely did the healer. I heard that.
Oh, man. But I thank all you guys for watching. You know, I thank Miracle for coming on as my second guest. You know, in this more guest-focused version of the podcast, we'll come out with other versions as well. But I thank all you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. So this is like where we do like the after podcast ramble, where we just like say random crap, or we talk, or we just like both leave. It's just kind of like whatever.
Alright. Who's going on? You're doing Aaron too, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do Aaron and Dust Knight just so me and Aaron can bully Dust Knight again.
Yeah. Oh man, I actually would love to hear Aaron's. What are you gonna be talking about? Like Good Moon with Aaron? Good Night Moon with Aaron?
I'm gonna do doing the same thing I did with you.
Okay, cool. I would love to hear like, maybe if his side is different.
Yeah, of course.
Just because, like, yeah, I'm just. Like, I want to know if I could have done anything better, because I do, like, that's, like, the biggest, like, roster change, like, I hated.
Well, if you look at it from, like, this perspective, it's like, if you look at it on paper, right, both of them have similar skill. Both have their upsides, both have their downsides. But you look at Skeppy, is like, Skeppy's probably just a slight bit better, but he also has, you know, a lot of experience in Paladins when it comes to being at the high level. Before that, Hilltime's never been on a top team. You know, Baldy Bunch, but that was very brief. That was
he carried, though.
Yeah, he did.
He literally carried
the
team.
So it's about kind of like, you know, fecal matter to the bed a little bit. That was his first taste of, you know, being on an actual team that was good. Because me and him have been on multiple teams together. They've all been trash outside of me and him. And this is not ego speaking. If you look at it objectively, we were the best too. And yeah, so he was kind of back in corners. Like, he knew he most likely would get replaced. But at the same time, he wasn't that mad about it. But he was kind of cross because like he knew it was inevitable no matter what he did. Unless like Skeppy just was like, hey, you know what? How about no? Kind of like the thing. So
that's we're not being recorded, right?
I can stop the recording.
Yeah. Could you?
Yeah, this is the end of the after podcast ramble. Hey, everyone, look over there.